Do you know what Mr. Popularity Vincent Mondale is doing these days? He's a sociologist, for God's sake.
We all have to go, David, unless you have some special excuse.
It's my birthday.
I am the decider of us three. I decide. Let the decider decide. I am not the suggester.
If you did 20% of the work and got 80% of the results, wouldn't you do it? Well, Stephanie Miller wrote the book on it. How to Save the Planet the 80-20 Way. Let's hear some tips on how to save the planet right now on The Al Travis Show.
Full disclosure, if you listen to Stephanie Miller long enough and or read the book Zero Waste Living the 80-20 Way, it will muck up your life for the rest of your life. So keep that in mind. You're playing with fire. Stephanie, how are you?
I am great. Actually, you're holding up the book, and I'll just say October 30 will be my book's 5-year birthday.
Have we been doing this 5 years?
Yeah, almost 5 years. I don't remember how soon after the book was published we first met.
Well, that's generally how to get them. So did you have a publisher? I don't remember this. Somebody sent an email saying that you should have this person on. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known you. That had to have been how that worked.
Yes, I had an agent for a few months, and they must have reached out to you.
Yeah.
But the book's still, to my surprise, because you never know if you're a first-time author, but the book's really still selling well, and I'm thrilled about that. It's still relevant for people. And anyway, it's great. I'm excited about the birthday.
That is, congratulations. Zero Waste Living the 80-20 Way, the busy person's guide to a lighter footprint. And basically your premise is if you did 20% of the work, but got 80% of the results, you're not going to get 100%. You know, Al's never going a Hondo in. But I go 20 and I get 80%. And that's what made it click for me, and we've been chatting ever since, and I love it.
Yeah, crazy how long we've been chatting about this.
Well, and you've gotten comfortable.
So much to talk about.
Well, you've gotten comfortable enough to blow the show off when you've got things to do, i.e. go on vacation for a couple of weeks. So, I mean, we're comfortable that way, which is good, I think, in some ways. But you went on vacation. I want to talk about where'd you go? Can we discuss?
Go on vacation once a year, Al. Yeah, I went to Vermont, and it was the first time I think that I've ever gone one place for a whole vacation and stood still, meaning I didn't like try to go to one town and then another town and move around. 2 weeks we set ourselves up in an Airbnb, brought the dogs for the first time, and they were such good travelers. And just, it was so relaxing. We hiked as much as we could. Beautiful, beautiful.
How far is Washington, Virginia, where you stayed?
How far was it? Washington, D.C. from Vermont?
You're in D.C., right? To Vermont, yeah. How far was that? A drive? Did you take a train? What?
No. We drove because we had the dogs.
Okay.
And we didn't know how this would work. I can't sit in a car for too long, so it should be about an 8-9 hour drive, but we took 2 days to get there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
2 nights.
Okay.
That was the most stressful part, figuring out the hotels that would take dogs and hope that they could stay there while we went to dinner, that kind of thing. But it worked out great.
That's great. Now, you are a fancy person with a very big, prominent hotel in D.C. You're the concierge of saving the world. Do they allow that? I get it, why hotels don't generally allow dogs. I mean, or cats. I'm allergic to cats. If I stay at a hotel with a cat, it'd be horrible. But I find it interesting that there aren't more that have that wing over there that allows it. You know what I'm saying? Was it really hard to find out there?
It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. There's a great website my sister told me about called Bring Fido or Bringing Fido or something like that. And so we were able to find places. On the way down, we stayed in inns, actually, that had like one room available for people with dogs, and they were really nice setups. On the way back, we stayed at a Marriott Residence Inn or something, and it was pretty good setup, except that it was clear a lot of dogs had been in this hotel room because the dogs were smelling every single corner. And we couldn't leave them alone for 1 second, but it was right next to an exit, so you could go walk the dogs right out of the room, practically. Not right out of the room, but close by.
So Vermont in late September, is this the whole fall foliage thing was going on, or was it all the beautiful, is that what you went for?
So we went in that kind of shoulder period when kids are back in school and before the leaf peepers are out in droves. So we could tell the day that season started because we'd been there for about 10 days of the 2 weeks. And oh my gosh, we went into the Woodstock, Vermont, the town that was closest to us, and we could not get a seat at a table. It was crazy. So we were glad we were a little bit away. So it kind of starts the last week of September, and then I think it goes well into October, the leaf peeping season. But it was already so beautiful. The locals were all complaining. They had a drought, so the tree colors were a little bit subdued, but to us it was just magnificent, really beautiful.
And I don't know how to ask this delicately. So you and your husband go to a place for 2 weeks, bringing your dogs, and you sit. Could you not have done that at home? As far as
we
they
didn't
think,
sit.
staycation. What you just said? You didn't go to
No.
other towns. You
No,
got on the
no.
porch and had a toddy and watched the leaves. What did you?
No. That's not what I meant. Sorry, bad communication. What I mean is, like, I'll do a bike trip and go to a different town every day,
Okay.
or we'll go on vacation to another state or another country, and we'll move around, right?
Yeah.
I've never rented an Airbnb for 2 weeks, but
Oh,
while
yeah.
we were there, oh my gosh, we walked the dogs in the morning, but then we'd go on our once we knew the dogs would be okay and not,
Great. Yeah.
they knew we were coming back. Then we could go on long hikes, and we had friends join us for a couple days. We did some beautiful hikes. No, so we were out and about every day. I don't mean we were sitting in the place.
Oh, okay.
We just didn't move around to different towns, and maybe you vacation differently
No,
than me, but this was
I obviously
beautiful
do,
for
because
me.
as I'm listening to you, I'm like, I don't get it. So you drive 8 hours, you got to do all the things, and you get this place so you can walk. You went on walks in the morning, and then you went on it. You call it a hike, but let's be honest, a hike is a fancy walk, and you walk some more. God love you. It doesn't even ring in my head like real words. Like that would be a movie or something, not real life. So good for you. And your husband. Let me ask you this.
This is not
'cause
your
I do-
kind of vacation. Yeah.
Well, no, but is it your husband? And this is why I ask, because I'm going to be honest. I don't know a lot of guys who just want to walk aimlessly. It is not really like our DNA. But I bet you he loves you enough. Is like, sure, let's go, hon. I can't wait for our 14th walk of vacation. Did-
So a walk and a hike sound similar, but we would go to the top of a lookout place off on the Appalachian Trail.
So it'd be harder to get to. It's a hard walk.
Yes, and there's a destination. It's not just walking around the neighborhood, which we do here in DC, right? Okay, you're giving me a hard time.
Well, because you get to here's my thing. I'm trying to put myself in, let's say, your husband's shoes. And you convince me, let's not just walk, but let's walk painfully up a mountain to get to the top and look out. And there's a path there. 1 million people have been there. There's probably been 1 million photos taken of it. We could buy the postcard of this literally at the gift shop from where we're at. But no, we must walk this.
Yeah.
And you do that. It's like, oh, that's the trees from the top. I always see them from the bottom. My life is now fulfilled.
Okay.
God love your husband. It makes no sense.
I wish I could do one of those Star Trek. I wish I could transport you to the top of some of these views we had. They were
the only way I'd go.
They were amazing. But you can ask my husband also. And to be honest, yes, I was probably driving, oh, let's do this hike. Oh, let's do that hike. Yes, you got my number on that. But he was also very, I know him well enough. We've been married for 3 years and known each other 10 years this month. He really liked it.
Okay, and I'm glad. I'm not
Stephanie
ripping him.
vacation.
Okay, yeah, well, that's very
It was
nice.
a Matt and Steph vacation.
Okay. Well, we chat about all this other stuff. Let's get back from this break, and when we come back, when you go on a vacation like this, to me sounds like a Stephanie Miller, 80-20 way vacation, in that if you're in an Airbnb, it doesn't have to be cleaned up every night. No maids coming in, that sort of thing. It probably makes some sense. Let's talk about the saving the planet portion of that. Is that fair?
Sounds great.
And I'm going to just try to wrap my head around what your husband probably really thought of the
real story.
The 14th hike in a row. Yeah, we'll talk about that after this.
Okay.
When the stakes are high at the Minnesota Capitol, you need more than a lobbyist. You need a partner. At Momentum Advocacy, we bring nearly 90 years of combined experience in government relations, public affairs, and strategic communications. From nonprofits to national corporations, we help organizations navigate Minnesota's political landscape with integrity, insight, and results. Whether you need legislative champions or headlines, Momentum Advocacy delivers. For more, visit momentum-advocacy.com. Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
Want to save the planet? The guy to know is Stephanie Miller with the 80-20 Way. Pick it up. What is it? Stephanie Miller in DC? No, it's Zero Waste.
Stephanie at zerowastendc.com
Zero Waste
is my email. If you want to email me, anyone, about anything to do
Love
with
that.
low waste living, happy to.
All right. So you and your spouse go on what we'd like to call the Baton Death March of a vacation, literally. And you go up to Vermont, lovely trees, changing colors, yada, yada. When you do something like that, is it because you can see how you're saving the planet? And I presume because, Airbnb, you didn't have somebody come in and clean it every day like you would at a hotel or something. So you're saving, that sort of stuff. Is that why you chose that?
No, but no, it's a good question, but no.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose if we'd been staying in a hotel for 2 weeks, which probably would have been more expensive than we could afford, I probably would have arrived and said, we don't need our room cleaned every day. So that's a good point for traveling. But no, but as soon as I got there, I realized, oh boy, okay, now we're living here for 2 weeks, basically. And how do I make this work so I don't lose my mind with all the waste, right? And the big thing for me, I had that big eye-opening moment, let's call it 6-7 years ago, on food waste. And I'll give you those two statistics that just blew my mind when I heard about them. One is that food waste is such a food waste in landfills, which is a big part of landfills, is such a big contributor to greenhouse gas emissions that it accounts for 8%, which is more than double the aviation sector, which is just mind-blowing.
Yes, it is.
And then the really cool, exciting statistic, if you will, is that we at the household level in the US are responsible for half that waste. So that means, okay, this is something I can wrap my head around and do something about. So 2 weeks in Vermont, I'm not going to let go of all that passion I have for eliminating food waste. So then here it goes, right? You can imagine we're cooking sometimes going out to eat. And it's the kitchen in the Airbnb is super well stocked. So we get there, we do some grocery shopping, we start cooking, and my husband starts throwing the food in the garbage. And I'm like, whoa, no, we're not doing that. And he's like, well, there's no compost that the Airbnb host talked about. No problem. Let's put it in the freezer. I'll figure it out. So we go out and buy.
You're saving your garbage in the freezer.
The food scraps.
Yeah,
the
food scrap. Okay, garbage.
So we start accumulating the freezer's empty, right? Because we're not at home. Yeah. About a week in, maybe 10 days in, we've got the freezer half full of food scraps. And my husband's like, okay, so what are we going to do with this stuff? We're running out of room for my ice cream in the freezer. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And I Googled. And it turns out in Vermont, they love composting. It's mandatory, not just for households, but for restaurants, commercial enterprises. But there was no in DC. I've got a place I know I can drop off compost. I couldn't find this place in Vermont. So anyway, I Googled, took a little bit of work, not a lot. And I found out there was a town about 20 minutes away where you could go and drop off your compostable food scraps. And that's what we did. And it was a cool adventure. We left the dogs. We drove to this little town. Stop laughing at me. Okay, your listeners can't see.
God love you, Stephanie Miller.
You are losing your mind about my food waste habits. Anyway, we go to this town and drop off the food waste. And anyway, it was a fun adventure. I think even my husband got into it. And we emptied our entire freezer of all the food scraps. There you go. So the moral of the story is if you care about this stuff, and you should, Google. If you're traveling like we did for a while somewhere where you have access to a kitchen and you're cooking, Google, where can I compost?
I laugh because I care. Because again, I keep putting myself in your husband's shoes. And the idea that he's saying, honey, he was going to dump, he was going to be, and I get it, you're more into it than him. He just wants place for his ice cream in the freezer because we're getting used food is now creeped over so far.
That's right.
And you spent a little time and come up with a great answer. Get in the car, hon. We're driving 20 minutes south to dump our waste so we can come back. I just think I would laugh out loud at my wife. I get where you're coming from, and I have to look that way. I'm trying to learn. But first processing that, Stephanie, that's a little cray-cray. Little.
It's not cray-cray. It's just not normalized yet.
What if you just went out in the backyard, just kind of dug a little hole and poured it in there and let it just decompose on its own? No official composting, just shovel it in back there under a big rock.
The Airbnb host was his house was right next to the converted barn where we were staying. And I think he would have noticed us out there with the shovels, I don't think he would have appreciated. Also, they have bears there. So
you would have gotten a bad review for sure.
Yes,
just digging your crap. Yeah. Okay. I can see that. The other thing though, you manage your food. You go out to dinner a lot. I only have 1 minute, but you go to dinner a lot. Did you bring along the reusable pyro glass containers? Did you bring that to and fro from the restaurant?
I had them available, but we never used them. We ate. We found great restaurants. We ate our meals. We finished our meals. We did not have leftovers. We ate really well on this vacation. I'm paying the price for that now. We ate really well.
But that's the vacation. You got to put on a couple of pounds on vacation. I'm glad you had a great time. I'm glad you're back. I don't understand you any more than I did a week ago, but I have more questions now, so I'll get into it. I appreciate you a ton, Stephanie Miller. I want people to get the book. Go to Zero Waste in DC and get Zero Waste Living the 80/20 Way. It's a great book. You're just so interesting to me. I appreciate you.
Okay, interesting can be a good word. I'll take it.
Fascinating. Yeah, it's. I
I'll
don't
take it.
understand
Interesting
it.
is good.
Okay, we'll
As
go
long
with
as I
interesting.
can like open your mind just a crack to think cray
You
cray
do.
could also be the new normal pretty soon.
I think sooner than I would have imagined, but I don't think pretty soon is the answer. I got to get over a lot of little mental hurdles here. I'm working on it. We'll get there.
Okay.
Stephanie Miller, appreciate you. We'll be
Okay,
back after
Peter.
this with more. Yeah, we will.